Hello, everybody. My name's James. Welcome to the penultimate episode of Planet FPL Correspondent Week. And I'm delighted to say I'm joined by my Europa League winning correspondent. It is Ricky Saunders. How are you, Ricky?
I'm all right, mate. All right. Good morning, my fellow European champion. How you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you, mate. Although, as we were just discussing off camera before we started, we've done the right thing waiting as long as possible with this podcast because I think you would have had a way more positive vibe if we'd have done this podcast this time last week, the day after we beat Arsenal, to what it is today, the day after getting absolutely, well, I want to say humiliated basically by Bayern Munich last night in our final friendly. We are in the last throes of enjoying our Europa League glory. We've got days to go, probably before the next spanking. Firstly, Ricky, a word on Heung-min Son.
Um, well, a word, mate. It's going to be tough to do it in a word. Well, one word is legend. There you go. Um, as I tweeted last week, really sad to see him go, but the right decision. And it's one of the rare ones, James, where it's the right decision for everybody involved.
Yeah.
It's a right thing for Son. It's a right thing for Tottenham. Um, a wonderful human being. Somebody that everybody should aspire to be like, not just in football terms, but in terms of how they live their life. Wonderful guy. Wish him nothing but the absolute best in everything he does. He was already one of our greatest ever players, in all honesty, and the Europa League win just cemented that. Yeah, it'd be sadly missed, even more so after some injury news we've had. But yeah, what an absolute legend that guy is.
Yeah, that's exactly how he leaves the football club. He leaves the football club as one of its greatest ever players,
Yeah,
in my opinion. I think that statistically it shows that. I think what we've seen shows that the timing is. I've been saying it for a couple of years. It's time to move on. But what a fitting way to obviously go out with his last competitive game being lifting the trophy. That now leads to another competition next Wednesday. How seriously did Tottenham take this? I've had a few people on socials suggesting, well, could Frank pick a weakened team and save for Burnley?
well, he's been saying all along how seriously he is taking it. Um, there is after look in pre-season we've been poor in all fairness. I mean, we were decent for 45 minutes against Reading, and since then it's been pretty poor. We're not creating anything. We're not looking like creating anything. We all got a little bit excited after beating Arsenal, but in reality, that was one shot on target, and that was from 50 yards. So there is a massive problem with creativity, and they could. And last night, we'll no doubt talk about that in a little while. But if I was Thomas Frank, there'd be a little bit in the back of our mind saying, "Yeah, treat this like a friendly, save some face," because we could go out there with a full team on the pitch and get humiliated. Just like last night, we got beaten 2-0 in 20 minutes by Bayern's youth team. And PSG are more than capable of doing exactly the same to us because it won't be PSG's full strength team. It can't be. They're still wearing flip flops, but they probably could beat us in flip flops as well, to be fair. But yeah, what he's been saying is this is a serious game, takes it seriously. I think his opinion may be changing a little bit um, after that game last night.
I mean, it don't feel like we got much chance of beating PSG on Wednesday, and I think that added it last night because obviously Bayern have been at the Club World Cup, and we've been.
Yeah,
They only went back a week earlier than PSG. We've been kind of holding on to, well, maybe PSG have been on the piss for a month. That's like the best chance we've got. We're definitely not going to beat them by outplaying them.
no.
We're going to have to do it very differently if we are to be successful. On Wednesday night, as a reminder, in Udogie, it's a turnaround for Tottenham from Wednesday night till Saturday 3 p.m. The Burnley game. Not specifically for PSG, but thinking more about the Premier League now. What are we expecting tactics and formation wise for Tottenham?
Well, I think everybody is kind of expecting Tottenham to maybe dominate possession, attack. It's not how Thomas Frank really plays. He's not a he's not someone. He's not going to go out there and have 60% possession, 70% possession. I think we're going to be sitting back quite a bit. unfortunately, which is not what we want to see. But I think that the signing of Palhinha, who is pretty much a carbon copy of Norgard, and we're going to set up pretty much exactly like Brentford did last year.
So we're looking at 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
I mean, we've not really seen much different to that in friendlies. I've seen little nuances with wide players moving into central 10 roles and one particular fullback moving on, quite often a build of a back three. It's been noticeable that in some of the more difficult games, such as Bayern last night and Arsenal the week before, that stayed rather more as just more like a flatter back four. When we played weaker opponents, we were having a kind of a back three build with one particular fullback pushing on. I have seen Porro play right sided centre back and really push on during these phase of games. What do you make of Frank so far? I was listening to an interview with him this morning talking about the game last night, and it dawned on me that we're about to get calm off the back of having Ange and Antonio Conte before that, and basically Mourinho before that. We're not going to get explosiveness in press conferences anymore, are we?
Well, we're not, but I saw a comment he made last night, and first of all, as I said, it's the end of last season. I'm really happy with Frank. Well, when we signed him, I'm happy. It was the best, I believe, of what we could have got at the time. For some reason, Luis Enrique was off the table. Don't know why, but that's fine. It is what it is. But no, he was the best of what we could get. I was happy with that. I like the way that he sets up and his tactics. We were all screaming about tactics. Um, and yeah, so overall, I'm happy. I've been uninspired, I think, but it is pre-season. Let's not forget these are little more than training games. I know that some of them have trophies attached and they're done for money and rather than anything else, but they're training games, right? He said last night, and I thought, is this setting us up for how we're going to be this season? That he was asked about new players coming in. Yeah, the club's talking to players. We're neither close or far away from signing anybody. What the fuck does that mean?
Well, he's not going to come out and tell you the truth on that, is he? But he's
No,
probably just
we
been
just
better off not saying anything. We're in the market, move on.
yeah. We're looking at players. I can't go into specifics. Next question, please. But don't get all cryptic with me. I'd rather have someone shouting than being all cryptic. At least know where I stand with Conte.
Yeah, I
But I'm not
think.
criticising Thomas Frank. Let's get
No,
this out of the way straight away.
yeah. I think obviously he's inherited a little bit of a mess, which was hidden
Yeah.
by winning the trophy towards the end of the season. And first and foremost, he had to sort out the structure of things in the back line. I do think last night might be a blessing in the sense that acted as a wake up call for anybody who thought, right, we're just going to go and play this way now. Actually, no, there's a lot more work still to do. So I think he had to sort out the defensive side of things. Structurally, without the ball, we don't suddenly look like a wide open mess. We just got dismantled last night by something so much better than us. Yes, their kids scored twice in the last 20 minutes or so against us. But Bayern's first team, if you will, scored twice against us in the opening hour, and frankly could have got six or seven over that period. But they are an exceptional team. We won't face too many of that. One thing about Bayern versus PSG, sheer speed and directness, PSG will be a little bit more controlling. So I think it'd be a little bit easier to get back behind the ball. But yeah, one thing that stood out last night was Tottenham want to be aggressive in the press. I mean, if they get it wrong, they're in the same trouble that have been under Ange, basically. But behind the ball, it's better when they sit off.
Yeah, I mean, amazingly, considering last season's defensive performance, defense was the one thing I haven't really been worried about.
Mm.
If I'm being honest, we've actually got good defenders who can defend. With Palhinha coming in, I thought that's a brilliant move. If he's anything like he was at Fulham, that's going to be fantastic. It will mean it's going to benefit us in so many ways. Obviously, defensively stronger. Defenders can actually play in their position. They're not going to have to be running up and down the pitch, tracking back because Palhinha's going to sit there and he's going to do so many wonderful things. Um, just talk about Bayern's kids. I can now understand why they were so or were so easy to get tell from them because they saw what was coming behind him and thought, yeah, we don't need this geezer. So that explains that transfer nice and easy.
Yeah, they had some joke kids, but looks of it last night, actually, including one guy called Mike. Looked particularly good, actually. And Mike Tell, there's someone else who had like a first name as well. Anyway, that's a different pod for a different day. Yes, but they have a production line in waiting, I think, Bayern Munich. Palhinha, um, you're absolutely right in terms of what he'll bring in terms of the midfield. Is he any fantasy consideration for you? Price is in now at 5.5.
Oh,
Phone ringing.
alarm.
Ah,
Um, yeah, he is. He's not going to go in my team straight away. But I think he will be. He's not going to get you any goals or assists, or very, very few. But he's going to clean up on, especially with us being so easy to play through. He's gonna clean up on the DEFCON. Absolutely. I think he is a consideration. 5.5 is a really good price as well. I thought he might come in a little bit more than that. But I say it's not going to be something that I consider early. He's going to be maybe a bit of an enabler further down the line, possibly.
one to watch. I certainly think he'll be a very big target for Tottenham from set plays. He's an
Oh
absolute
God, yeah,
giant.
yeah.
Stands out straight away. Regular Planet FPL listeners will know that when he was at Fulham, I absolutely adored him. I thought he was good enough to go and play for anyone. But those who listened to me last week will also know I've got reservations about this a little bit. One, I think, despite our defensive problems, I think we needed someone in terms of ball progression through lines, ideally as a number six. I think was more of a priority. They've gone down this route. That's fine. That's what they've chosen. My concern with him is he is so good at covering the distance. He's hit 30 now. He's just had a year of football he hasn't played that much. And I don't want to judge on last night, but if what I saw last night is what we're going to get, it won't even be in the team, mate. Because he was so far off it from a fitness perspective, which is totally understandable, by the way. But what I know João Paulinho to be, I did not see any of last night.
No, I've written all. I've got a list of notes here. And it was going to be notes for this pod, and ended up being notes for Paulinho. And it's a fucking page of them. I was so excited about it last night. It's well, you kind of said it's reality check, really, of just where we are and where we thought we might be going and where we actually still really are. No, look, he's not ready. Hopefully, it's a case of not ready, and not that he hasn't got it anymore. I'm sure that's not the case, but yeah, he needs to maybe recapture some form, capture some fitness, possibly. But yeah, that was. I mean, I had this big dream of Palhinha sitting in front of the back four. The back, the wing backs been able to go forward if they want to because he's there. Bentancur being released to do magical things. Palhinha's passing and his range isn't brilliant, but it doesn't need to be. All his job is going to be is to give the ball to somebody that can pass it, win it back, and then play it to somebody else. But yeah, we didn't. Look, it's one game. It's 90 minutes. A little bit disappointing, but overall, I'm excited. Just a little bit less so after his non-appearance yesterday.
Yeah, I would say if he starts and plays extensive minutes against PSG, I wouldn't even guarantee him as a starter against Burnley because of the recovery. He's behind everyone else on pre-season. That's important to factor in. The potential of what he can be as a player, yes, it needs monitoring. I don't think it's for anyone to start for fantasy.
No,
Mohammed Kudus signed from West Ham. Don't want to talk about the fantasy element of that yet. We'll come back onto him. But as a player, what have you made so far?
I really like him. He seems to have fit in really well. One thing that struck me from last night is he's going to get very frustrated very quickly.
I agree with this.
Yeah, he's doing stuff. And so many times he's got the ball in the final third and he's looking around and there's nobody there. He's going to be doing a lot of work, a lot of really good work, and there's going to be no one there to receive his final ball or his pass through or whatever. But him, yeah, I think he's been brilliant. I really, really like him. It adds a whole new dimension, something that we haven't had for quite a long time.
Um, he looks like he's going to be a near 90-minute man. I think the importance, again, we'll come on to fantasy in a bit more, but he has been used nowhere but right wing in pre-season. Other people have been moved out of that position to accommodate him.
Yeah, that's bad news as well, in my opinion.
Okay, we'll come back onto that. Right. what's needed for Tottenham in terms of transfer window over these next 3 to 4 weeks. We currently have no number 10, so that's an obvious answer. Dan Kulusevski, I would suggest probably back late September, early October, maybe, but that's he's obviously not going to have had a proper pre-season like everybody else. James Maddison, ACL injury, unfortunately confirmed, might not play at all this season. That's obviously a priority. What else do Tottenham need?
Well, yeah, the number 10 is the absolute glaring one. I mean, don't take this the wrong way, anybody, but I'm kind of glad that Maddison's injury is as bad as it is, and I don't mean that against James Maddison. But if he'd have been Kulusevski, I could see leave it. Oh yeah, well we can cope
We'll wing
for a
it.
couple of months. Yeah, we need to replace him. There's no two ways about it now. So that, in a very bizarre, macabre way, that's actually a bit of a blessing. So yeah, number 10, absolutely, that should be now our sole focus and priority moving forward. Once we've done that, we need another striker. We've got two injury-prone strikers. One of them's shit anyway. The strong rumours are I'm looking at is that we're about to bid £80 million for Nicholas Jackson. I, we'll
I
do
don't
a
know
whole pod
who's
on that,
invented
mate.
that. That's
We'll
nonsense.
we'll we'll do a whole pod on that if that happens. And I'd like another fullback as well. That's not essential, but it would be nice.
Yeah, by the way, just for clarity, I don't have a problem with the 80 million fee for Nicholas Jackson, but Tottenham are not getting involved in a bidding war for that with others. You've got absolutely no chance. Mind you, I said there was no chance for signing Kudus.
Yeah.
In terms of 10, people will put the dots together with someone like Eze. Can you see that sort of thing transpiring or not?
No, because if it was going to, it would have happened already. We've got, let's say, £60 million, what we were going to give Forest for Morgan Gibbs White. So you've got Eze, who everything that we've been doing so far, Premier League ready, Premier League proven, blah blah blah. We know that our rivals are after him as well. That's going to strengthen them. So why have we not gone to Pat? And we know that's going to be, round about his fee as well, 60 to 70. That's what is going to be commanding. Why have we not gone there and said, "There's the money, we need him"? I possibly the fact that we know Palace want a lot of money up front, and we're unable or unwilling to do that. But no, we've got a need. He's a player that can fill that need, and we haven't even there's not even a hint of us going in for him. So no, based on that, unless we're doing it really, really under the table, that's not going to happen.
I suspect what Tottenham will be about to do will probably be under the table. It will suddenly be, yeah, it's him and he's coming tomorrow. I think it's going to be something like that. I think with Eze, I think there's probably a bit of concern with Tottenham that they get involved with a war with Arsenal that they're probably not likely to win, is the reality.
Yeah, but that's we'll have those discussions in private. Well, like we did with Gibbs White, let's speak to the agent, see what the chances are. If there's no chance, then we won't get involved at all. I think if there is a chance, then we will. But it just concerns me. And like I said, unless it is very, very quiet. Look, Gibbs White, we heard nothing about that until it was done, before it got undone. Kudos, that was a very, very quick turnaround with that one. So maybe we are doing things very, very secret squirrel, but there's not even a rumor, there's nothing at all.
It is interesting though. It's gone from in the morning of Gibbs White was kind of like it's here we go. Over that week, there'd been a lot of Tottenham have got investment in terms of potentially sponsorship for the stadium. There's investment coming in from various parts. There's loads of things suddenly coming in financially into the football club that's now ready to be spent. So unless this whole thing with Gibbs White was some sort of show, which I don't think anyone does think it is. We know that the money's there. The problem is everyone else knows the money's there as well, right?
Well, exactly that. We've got £60 million we were going to give that we didn't. So that money's there. That's got to inflate, and we've got a need as well. Everyone knows James Maddison's injured. So teams know now that we have got very little bargaining power. This is a price we want. You're going to pay it. No, then somebody else will. We've kind of pulled our pants down ourselves a little bit.
I think in terms of the position, one of the real problems here as well is Tottenham kind of really need to buy someone that is first choice and ready to go.
Yeah.
And that's so challenging in a position like that to kind of put your hat on someone. You don't know what sort of pre-season they've had at other clubs. I tell you who I think Tottenham will end up with. I'll give you a name because I've heard him in lots of circles for months. Is Bilal El Khanous at Leicester.
Do do you know what? I work now with a Leicester fan, and he kind of sits there, and he's a big football fan, and he said the other day, he said about Kudus, who the fuck's that? I don't really. Do we need him? And he go, yeah. Tell Levy it's 40 million. Okay. Then he come in the next day. You signed anybody yet? No. Oh, tell Levy it's 50 million now. It keeps going up every day. And I went into work yesterday and I said, oh, mine. I said, I've for the first time I've heard somebody other than you tell me about Kudus and that he's on the radar. I wouldn't be too. I wouldn't be neither happy nor disappointed.
Jump on it. And he's young.
Yeah,
He's young.
I think he's a good player with bags of potential. So come to Tottenham, be ruined by us, as we do with all of these players with potential. But no, I wouldn't be overly against it. I is it the ambition that Levy was telling us about a little while ago, winning the Premier League, winning the Champions League? All right, let's go and sign a championship number 10.
No, but maybe you can't get what you want. And I think throw some money at it. Tottenham wanted Gibbs White, right?
Yeah.
So now they're looking at the secondary options. It's almost like going for your first choice manager. You know whatever you're going for now is the second choice. That's what this is with Tottenham. I think with Kudus, they're probably not able to get probably a big one. I think it'll either be someone like that, or it will be someone we haven't heard of. Like I've heard of Nico Paz at Como over the
I was
last couple
just
of
about to
days.
say, yeah.
I don't know anything about him to tell you the truth.
Well, the only thing I do know about him is he's 20 as well. So he's another kid.
I don't mind at Tottenham going down that route and buying something that will get better. I think Tottenham aren't quite ready to be at the stage of buying one of the top number 10s in the world, for example. We're just not there yet. Ultimately, we still finished fucking 17th last year. What else is needed in the squad? Is it just that, or do we need more?
No, that's a forward. Richie is not. He's not a goal scorer. He does a lot of good things when he's able to, when he's got two functioning legs, but he's not a goal scorer. He never has been, no matter where he's been in his career, he's never been a goal scorer. You're talking 12 or 13 goals max. And that was in Brazil with Everton. He's not going to be the answer. Solanke, well, what's up with Solanke? We're told it's not serious. He's missed the last three games. He hasn't even been anywhere near getting on the pitch. Will he be ready for PSG? Will he be ready for
Well,
Burnley?
Frank is literally saying to us next game, but I've heard
Yeah.
that. I've already heard that twice now.
Well, it's harking back to Ange with Micky. Next game, next game. He's fit. Well, then why is he not fucking playing? He's injury prone, right? And he's not. He's once again, Slanky's not going to get you 25, 30 goals a season. We need, easy to say, we need another Harry Kane, but they don't grow on trees today. But no, we need a front man. I think that's quite a, I wouldn't say a desperate need, but we know that at some point, I'll tell you what, James, we'll see at the end of this season how many games that both Richie and Slanky are available for, and it won't be many. And it won't be many. It will probably be less than how many they're both not available for.
Before Solanke joined us, he never got injured, mate.
No, we're cursed. We joked about it under Ange, but it's not Ange's style of play anymore that's causing these injuries because Ange ain't here and these in players are still getting injured.
All right. For those who haven't quite worked it out yet, there is a big, big problem for Tottenham offensively at the moment. However, Ricky, these fixtures are really good, I think it's fair to say, across the opening sort of 10 weeks or so. And it's got people very interested, particularly the first two home games, promoted side, potentially understrength Bournemouth defensively. What do you make of the fixtures first and foremost? He's a kind start, I think.
It's a kind start. It might work against us a little bit, especially in the transfer market, because if we go out and have some positive results, don't worry, everything's fine, everything's good, and then we actually play some real teams and we get our pants pulled down. But no, look, for a new manager, new philosophy, new style of play, few new additions. From that point of view, it's a great start. some teams we can. Burnley's going to be good because that's going to be a low block. Bournemouth obviously more expansive. So we're going to get quite a few different football styles and get to see Frank's ability to change and adapt, not just game to game, but in game as well. So I'm from that point of view, I'm quite excited by that.
Okay, let's talk the fantasy potential then. Recurring theme of question I'm getting asked by people on socials is Mohammed Kudus or Brennan Johnson, Ricky.
Uh, for me, Kudos. I haven't even considered Brennan Johnson. Um, Kudos is, as you said earlier on, he's on the right wing, and people being moved to accommodate him on the right wing. Brennan was woeful on the left last night, absolutely woeful. Um, I really like Odobert anyway, and I think Thomas Frank does as well. He's played him a lot in pre-season. Could we see Johnson being played more down the middle? Possibly. Don't know. Um, but no, I haven't looked at Johnson at all. Kudos is currently in my team. Whether he stays there or not, we'll wait and see. But I really like him.
Got major reservations now on both. I really like what I've seen from Mohammed Kudus, the footballer. But in what's he played? Five friendlies? I could barely remember him having a shot, mate.
Yeah, and he is. I think you said this. I wouldn't say shot shy, but I think his decision making in the final third sometimes can be a bit poor. He can get there quite easily,
Hmm.
but getting the final decision making, and he has a bit of a reluctance to shoot. Don't know why. I don't know if that's something that Frank's gonna coach into him. My concern with Kudos more is who's he putting the ball into the box to? You know, he's gonna do some fantastic work on the wing, cut inside, cross it in, whatever, and who's there to nod it in, stab it in. It's yeah, that is the concerning bit, and that's the reason why he's in my team at the minute, but he probably won't be or might not be come this time next week.
Yeah, the closer it gets, the more it's unlikely it is for me. All these players, by the way, need a massive caveat in terms of their recovery potentially from the Wednesday night and the Burnley game. I know people specifically want the Burnley. We cannot say now who's going to start against Burnley because there's going to be a big impact on next Wednesday. I will talk about that after the game when I get back, obviously next week. But more with Kudos, I can't think like, oh, I've seen him get into, the ball's on the left and I've seen him get into dangerous positions, even at the back post or pulling off short towards the edge. Or, like I said, I barely remember him having a shot, Ricky. And ultimately, it's like, yeah, he's the best Tottenham attacker at the moment. He looks the best option. Love what I've seen of him from a player. For fantasy, I've not seen anything with my eye that suggests that he's going to go off. And ultimately, that's people want a Tottenham player because the kind of chance he's going to go off. Johnson at the moment is going to probably play on the left. But again, we couldn't get the more minutes he plays against PSG, the less likely he's going to be to start the opening game against Burnley. Because
Yeah,
on the left at the moment, there's obviously competition with other players you mentioned we'll come back onto. I think at the moment, he's probably going to get the nod, Johnson. Generally speaking, I'm not saying game week one, but I think he's going to get the nod, say, for PSG, because I think he's in there because you're looking at the rest of the team going, well, who is going to score goals? His one good trait is if it lands to him in and around the box, he's a good finisher.
yeah.
So that's why I think he's getting favouritism at the moment.
We know that Thomas Frank tried to sign him for Brentford as well. He's obviously a big fan of his, so he's going to want to use him as much as he can do. Obviously, he had all these big ideas of how to play at Brentford, and he's going to want to try and do that. Um, it it concerns. We've got two players that predominantly want to play on the right wing, and one of them doesn't want to play anywhere, and the other one can, but he's nowhere near as effective. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, your memory's better than mine. I don't remember any goals, or very, very few that Johnson scored from a central position from coming down the middle of the pitch. Everything that he did was coming in off a wing.
So even consider this, that the kind of typical Johnson goal that you would have seen scored for Tottenham again, it's a different manager obviously, was that arriving at the back post. Kind of Sonny or a Werner or someone playing it across the kind of corridor of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Johnson there at the back post. So even if you think of him doing it from the left, it's capable. But is Kudus the sort of player that's going to hit the line and deliver that sort of cross? No. And
No,
he's not good enough in the air to think, oh, he's going to be getting on the end of kind of Porro's higher flighted ones towards the back post or something like that. So Johnson, I would probably favour if I felt that the minutes were going to be there. But I think, like I said, I'd be confident in him game week one, ironically, if he didn't start against PSG. And beyond game week one, I wouldn't have a clue what would happen with him because, frankly, you'll know my opinion. Thank you for the heroics in the final. He's not good enough.
I think we've been here before, haven't we?
Yes. Doesn't change anything. It's not good
No,
enough. It's too
and
weak.
it's even more up in the air when Decky comes back because at the minute you've kind of got or three players looking for two positions. Decky's going to come back and just muddy that unless Frank is going to play him in the centre of the park. Um, but yeah, that's a while away. Yes, we haven't got to worry about that in a minute. We'll have much more of an idea of what Johnson and Kudos look like before that happens.
If your worry is minutes and people really want to invest, go and get Kudos. There is more upside, but there's also more chance of it being one pointers with Johnson. That's where it's at. My truthful feeling at the moment is it probably should be neither.
Yeah,
Again, it's another one like I've spoken about with Chelsea defence. Obviously, unfortunately, Levi Colwill has had a bad injury. I've spoken about this with Villa defence, and I think this is how it feels about Tottenham attack at the moment. It's the wanting to invest in the team and the fixtures, not actually necessarily looking at it and going, are any of these players actually going to be any good? And I get
yeah,
it, it's fine. You can punt something because the fixtures are good and it might land good. But from what I've seen, could also be going in as a default because the fixtures are decent. And I don't think there's great alternatives in and around the price. I really don't. Keep coming
not
back to it.
no. There's it looks like the best of that bracket. Just touching on minutes briefly, I wouldn't be too put off by Johnson's minutes as long as he's getting some because he come off the bench a lot last season to good effect, and he was getting involved and scoring and assisting. So I wouldn't be too put off by that, but obviously you want your player on the pitch for as long as possible.
All I'd say is with that, you're absolutely right. I've said that a lot. He's a player who regularly can come off the bench. I defended that a lot last year. Even if he doesn't start, last 20 minutes or so, he might get you something. The difference now is stylistically, it's very different. He's possibly playing in a position he doesn't really want to play in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So let's buy defenders because we looked so good defensively last night, Ricky. So credit credit to FPL. They've got the pricing spot on here, haven't they? Porro 5.5, Romero 5, Van der Ven 4.5. Destiny Udogie is also in the line of I don't know, and as I warned people weeks ago, he's injury prone and there's a high probability he wouldn't play PSG and Burnley. I guess we could throw Jed Spence into the conversation with Van der Ven, but I'm pretty sure Udogie will be ahead of him as and when he's back available. And if Udogie's bad, we shouldn't rule out Tottenham going and buying another fullback. So I would push Jed Spence as a no option. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Okay. So are you likely to go with any of the other three? Porro, Romero, Van der Ven.
Well, Romero, no. Um,
Okay.
as good as he is, he's not a fantasy. Well, I say he's not a fantasy.
He could be good on these DEFCONs,
He
Ricky.
could be good on the DEFCONs. We're working a lot on set pieces, and he's got a big forehead that can nod in. I'm going to say no. Two reasons. A, I've got Porro, and I can't see that changing at the moment. And do I want to go double Tottenham defence? No, of course I don't. So there's only room in my team for one. I think Porro's the better asset. Porro is going to play 90 minutes. I wouldn't even be overly surprised for Porro to be captain or vice captain. Romero, I think, will be the captain, but if Romero did leave, I can see that being Porro or vice captain at least anyway.
Just to
Um,
jump in there before people worry, obviously there was big links with Atletico Madrid and Romero earlier in the window.
very
There is
quiet now.
no suggestion
No,
that that's going to come back to the table, but he does have 2 years left on his contract, so a decision has to be made at some point by Tottenham
yeah,
and Romero over the next 12 months.
yeah. Um, some of the balls that Porro's been putting over the top have been just delicious. I and with Palhinha, I can see obviously Palhinha's gonna sit, and that's going to allow one of our fullbacks to get up the pitch a lot more, with the other one then tucking back in to make a free. I think Porro's going to have a really, really good season. So he's in my team for that reason. Romero, yeah, look, he's injury prone as well. Didn't play. I think he played less than half of our games last year. Some of that would have been being rested by Ange in the league games because of focus on the Europa League. Some of it is because there's a game in Argentina that needs to be played. As we know, he's done quite a few times over the years. And obviously, yeah, he's injured or he's suspended because he's kicked some defender up in the air. And he could have been sent off yesterday. In all honesty,
He actually could have.
yeah. So there's always that in him, and that really really puts me off of him. Micky was actually in my side until yesterday. Now it's not that I've rage taking him out. He was always really. It was going to be him or Udogie. With Udogie seemingly nowhere near the team because of whatever injury he's got. Um, Micky, I'm not gonna. Micky's not gonna be very good for DEFCON. Based on last night, we're not going to keep any clean sheets. Um, so yeah, there's a clear winner for me, which is Porro.
We're going to pay 5.5 for a Tottenham defender, yeah?
No, I don't want to, but I'm going.
He didn't even hit 100 points last year, Ricky, and he did play a lot of the games. I realise he's going to be a different Tottenham now.
Yeah, look. I want something of my team in there. Um, we've just talked about the midfielders. There's kind of currently one option as we sit now, one option that we don't even know is gonna start for definite. The forward line, well, one's shit, one's injured. So yeah, where else do I go if I want some Tottenham coverage?
Yeah, I want one. And I would have said before the game last night, so there's a little bit of, I'm attached to this, right? Before last night, there would have been a definite one is going in. And I've considered all three of them. I think Porro, the way it's priced is correct. Porro has the upside. With no Maddison, he's even more likely to be on a lot of the set plays.
Yeah.
I think like game week one, free kick on the edge of the area, I think he's probably taking it. Set plays in terms of right-footed corners,
Yep,
I
he's on
think
them.
he's largely probably going to be on them. I mean, Son's obviously gone as well, right? So you got the set play aspect. You've also got the open play aspect, less moving inside and more moving into more traditional positions, if you will. He could, as I said, end up in certain games as a right-sided centre back, but he's capable of assisting from his own half because he's probably the best long-range passer in the squad, I would say. And it's a weapon for him to look for the ball over the top. The caveat to that is quite often that'll be over the top for a Johnson or Kudus, who's then maybe going to attempt to assist someone else.
Yep.
You ain't going to see necessarily a lot of that. He's also scored twice against Burnley historically as well. Our last two home games against Burnley. If you want to put something weird in a narrative, yes, he scored twice against them in two different games when Burnley were last up. You might also remember the beautiful assist for Heung-min Son in his hat-trick goal in the 5-2 quite early in the season. So Porro's got history against Burnley as well. Not that that should necessarily matter. It's a different manager there now, etc. There's definitely upside in him. There's definitely a period later in the season where I think you could move from Porro when it gets worse for Tottenham to Daniel Munoz when it gets better for Crystal Palace, for example. I think that sort of thing's possibly on the table.
Yeah, but that's another great thing about that price point. I've currently got a little bit of cash left in the bank, so I can go up very very easily to a six, or if a five or a 4.5 stands out, I can move down as well. So it's a really good price point. And if I do go with Micky, where do I go? I go to another uninspiring 4.5. So I like his price point. I'm trying to be a bit more strategic this year. in having price points. And it's not something I've really taken any consideration into in my years, but this season I'm trying to, and I've kind of got an exit plan for pretty much everybody, no matter what position they're playing in.
I also want to say on Porro, and this applies to the two centre backs as well, that I think he'll actually pick up quite a few DEFCONs this year on Porro. I think you need to be a little bit careful with Tottenham in terms of looking at historical. You can certain teams you can look at and go, right, we've got 4 months of David Moyes, Everton information to know what Tarkovsky looks like, etc., etc. In terms of defensively, there is way less pissing about, and Tottenham are inviting more balls into the penalty area. So Van der Ven, I've said several times over, needs to improve a lot of his basic defending. I think his heading, for example, is getting better and he's making cleaner contact in terms of positioning, in terms of many things. So I think Van der Ven, you're going to see more headed clearances. Just also sitting off deeper enables more DEFCON possibilities. And Porro, he's going to end up with a lot of clearances, I think. If the ball's dropping over his shoulder a lot and normally trap it and wait and play inside, he's lumping it.
Yeah.
He's going to go down as a clearance. So I'd factor that in. My assessment on the Tottenham defenders would be definitely don't think that you have to have one. And I would focus on the makeup of the rest of your squad and come back to them. I.e., if you're then sitting there and in the blessed position to be able to go Pedro Porro, do it. I also think actually Romero will be a cleaner pick than Van der Ven. And I think he's worth the zero point 0.5 more. The other thing with Micky, you obviously highlight about Romero and potential problems. But if Micky van der Ven plays 90 minutes against Paris Saint-Germain, I don't think we should rule out the prospect of Danso playing against Burnley.
Absolutely. I
Whereas
think,
the other two, Romero and Porro, will definitely play against Burnley as long as they're fit.
yeah, and I think Mickey's going to be one of the people that benefits most from Palhinha. He's not going to be having to cover ground as quickly and risking hamstrings because Palhinha is going to be there to sweep up some of that stuff. So I think Mickey's we're going to get a lot more games out of him next year. But yeah, I'm still not sure that he can play, 2 games in 3-4 days. That's, he hasn't shown he can do that, and there's no reason to think that he will do going forward. I think he's just got cheese string hamstrings, and that's just, it is what it is.
Okay. Let's wrap up some quick fire stuff. Firstly, Vicario in goal.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk of Kinski. I was in a weird way hoping that Kinski would start last night and give me a bit of an insight into Frank's thinking. But yeah, I think Vic is the nailed on number one. Well, no, not nailed on, but he's going to be the preferred choice. If it goes boss side after 5-6 games, we could well see a change, but he will start in goal.
Yeah, totally agree with that. I think Kinski monitor for maybe something later on, but yeah, Vic is going to start, it looks like. Solanke we can't pick at the moment. I mean, if you suddenly back in the team against PSG, are you tempted?
No,
No.
no, he needs to get his fitness up, and I need to see him. He's going to be one to watch. He's a potential wild card pick, unless he really really goes off. But no, not there's better options or as gooder options that are guaranteed of more starts in and around that price point.
Okay. If Solanke's out for 3 months, as Richarlison at 6.5
James,
attempts.
move on, move on.
Okay, fine. Matisse Tell is 6.5.
No,
Wilson Odobert is 5.5.
Odobert would go in before Matisse Tell for me.
Yeah. I think Odobert's
Neither of
ahead
them
of
are,
him, by the way. That pricing, I don't want to say it's the wrong way round, but I think if one of them was to start at the moment, say against PSG, Odobert is the more likely. Let me sell it like that.
Thomas Frank. He's played Odobert a lot. He likes him, and I think he's gonna. I'm not gonna say breakthrough season, but I think he's gonna have a really good season. I've seen nothing from Matisse Tell in terms of goals or assists that would make me want to pick him over any other 6.5 player.
Okay.
But neither of them are guaranteed minutes, so you can't really go anywhere unless one of them, um, not straight away. Let's have a look in 5-10 games down the road.
So, as we stand, who's playing 10 against PSG?
Well, it's gonna be Sarr or it's gonna be Bergvall. Obviously, Sarr started yesterday. Look, let's get this right. We're still in pre-season. I don't know what the message Frank gave as to how to take the game. But Sarr was quite uninspiring. But he's playing against a world-class team. Saying that, Sarr has been what, 3 goals in early
He's
pre-season
probably
game.
been Tottenham's best player in
Yeah,
pre-season. I would
yeah.
also caveat I said that about Dejan Kulusevski this time last year, and he didn't start game week 1.
Exactly. So I think Sarr will start. Bergvall obviously come on to replace him later on in the game. He was uninspiring as well, but nobody stood out yesterday. But Sarr will. I think that's his position at the moment. But we've got to be in for a 10. We've absolutely got to be. There's that news could drop today. If we've been doing it secretly, we could have somebody in by the weekend.
Pat
Won't, but.
Sarr, he's 5.
Papsard, when a couple of weeks ago, I was really interested in Papsard. The price, the fact that he's getting forward more, the fact that he's adding goals. I know they're friendlies, yeah, I know, but it just seems Thomas Frank has changed his position a little bit, tweaked a few things. I do part Saar is very much on my watch list, very very much, and he could be someone that goes in. If he's got a nailed down space and he is adding some attacking returns at 5, he's going to be one of the best enablers of the season.
I'll sell it like this. I think at 5, it's fine. I don't think he's probably in the longer term, i.e., I'm talking into September, October, probably not part of the ideal Tottenham 11, I would say. I think at the moment he would be highly likely to start the PSG game in the 10 position because of his ability to press as well, right? He's the thing with him is people think, oh, he's playing as a 10, get attacking returns, but he'll hunt and he'll get ball recoveries and stuff. He might get little bits of that as well. But what that means for the Burnley game, as a consequence, might actually be relative to Palhinha. So if Palhinha plays heavy minutes against PSG, what that means for the Burnley game in terms of if he'd be able to go again, not sure. If Palhinha is not ready to go in the Burnley game, Sarr will play with Bentancur and Bergvall will play as the 10. How that's going to look for game week 1, I think depends a lot on Palhinha. From what we saw last night, if it's Sarr and Bergvall together, at the moment, it will be Bergvall ahead of him. But Sarr is way more assured of his place in the team. I think Sarr will start both games, PSG and Burnley, because of his incredible fitness levels. Like he's
Absolute
an
machine.
absolute
Yeah.
athlete, but I'm not quite sure where yet. And ultimately, do you want a central midfield player? Yeah, he's going to play 10 for Tottenham, but we are sitting here saying we're shit. But it does mean, as in shit offensively at the moment, we're just not confident offensively at all. That's pretty much what we're trying to say here. We're pretty much saying don't buy Tottenham attackers, aren't we, Ricky? But I'm
Yeah,
not gonna. I won't rule myself out of Sarr at the moment because I do think he'll play.
Saar. If I don't go with Kudos, it could well be I'll go with Saar, and that's on the face of it a really uninspiring pick. But I know from him I'm getting minutes. There is the chance of a return. He's got to pick up defensive points as well. Um, he's not a bad pick. He's really not a bad pick. And it's his price. It enables you to do lots and lots of things.
Okay, factoring in the PSG game, predict the 11 against Burnley,
Fucking hell.
and I will
Well,
cover this again after the PSG game in terms of what I think.
see, I mean, okay, I'm gonna. The back four is
People
nice
have
and
got to
easy.
remember we're going to spend 75% of the game chasing after PSG.
Yeah, and it would be easy to pick that first 11 had you not said factoring in the PSG game. So I'm going to keep that on in the back of my mind, the PSG game. Vic, Porro, Romero, Van der Ven, Spence, Palhinha, Rod. Um,
That's Benson Core for those who don't know.
yeah, sorry, yeah, Ben and Core. So what we've got there, we've got 5, 6, 7. Kudos, Johnson. I think, or that could be on, but let's say Johnson. I think he's more. Um, and then, fucking hell, where'd you go from there? But probably, actually, you know
Sarr and
what? Do you know what?
Richarlison at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, could he play Johnson down the middle, and Odobert on the
I know
left?
what I'd like him to do at the moment until something is sorted. I'd play Kudus in the 10. Play Johnson right, Odegaard left, Kudus as the 10.
We're
With two
doing
sitters.
everything that we can not to play Kudus as a 10. I think he'd be a brilliant 10, but he doesn't want to play there.
Well, I think he just absorbed some pressure. Think of him almost like a Morgan Rogers a little bit in terms of his ball carrying quality. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
probably not going to
I,
be threaded passes, but it's a different profile of
yeah,
player.
ideally, Odobert on the left, Johnson on the right, Kudus as the 10. Yeah, Richarlison ahead of him. All right, sorry about that. Um, but even with, and this is the thing, even with our injuries, we're still not sure of the starting 11 and how we're going to set up. And some of that is obviously we don't have anything to go on from Thomas Frank. You know, we've played heavily rotated teams. We don't know what his first 11 is. He may not know what his first 11 is just yet. But yeah, it's going to feature all of those players. We're just not sure in what positions yet.
Where do we finish in the leg?
A week ago, we were top eight. At the moment, after yesterday, and with our current injury struggles, um, fucking hell, anywhere from eighth to 14th.
If this is what we've got for the season now, with the injuries, Maddison, Kulusevski going to struggle,
Yeah,
etc. If we had exactly what we've got now for the whole season unchanged, we will struggle to finish top half.
absolutely, couldn't agree more.
But it
Um,
might look very different in a couple of weeks.
Look, everyone is focusing on, oh, you know, with the season kicks off in a week. Yeah, it does, but the transfer window is still open for 3 weeks. So, you know, we can and will still do business late in the window. So, yeah, the Tottenham that you get next week will probably not be the Tottenham that you're going to get for the rest of the season. But you're quite right. As things stand right now, yeah, 12th, 13th, something like that. A couple of additions, and we'll be looking for the European places again,
I think that
potentially.
can quickly change. We change a few bits, and I think
Yeah,
trying to qualify for Europe, as in Europa League placing, is potentially on also a factor for Tottenham. This squad currently all of a sudden looks thin again, despite having too many bloody players, and we've got Champions League to contend with as well. Like it's not going to be straightforward. I think Manchester United's path to improvement looks more straightforward than it does for Tottenham's. I'm sure, Ricky, if we'd have added Sesko, Cunha, and Brumo, we wouldn't be sitting here having the sort of conversations we've been having today. We'd be feeling very different about the season ahead. Thank you, mate. Anything you want to plug?
um, nothing personally. Once again, let's just plug some Patreon. Sign up, people. Um, it's lots of great quality content. Yeah, you won't be disappointed.
Thank you, sir. And once again, a Correspondent Week podcast concludes with you feeling less good about the options in your team than you did before it. On the final podcast of Correspondent Week, our Sunderland correspondent, Spencer Barrowman, is going to recommend some Sunderland players, but I don't know if he'll actually want them. Join me for that later today. Thanks, Ricky. Say it, pal.
Come on, Tottenham.
Champions of Europe, we know what we are. Cue music, please, man child.